It's Cowboys Live, Cowboys fourth quarter live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. And they're going to double your promo code at MyBookie.ag. They're going to double your deposit if you use the promo code FanCred. You should double up on the promo code. Just use FanCred as the promo code. They'll double your deposit at MyBookie.ag. I'm a little scattered with my intro because a tornado warning is happening, like right around. But I'm not a selfish guy, and neither is Jared over here, because we're here for you, to hang out with you, and I hope that you've had fun joining us on Fourth Quarter Live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I'm Kevin Turner. That's Jared Sandler. Cowboys lead the Eagles 27-10. In fact, Dak just connected with Amari Cooper on a deep ball, just like that. Down the right sideline, he burned, actually got by Jalen Mills, diving catch. Nice play by Amari Cooper, and the Cowboys are now in the red zone again, really having their way with the Eagles defense, Jared. I don't know what your takeaways were for the first three quarters, but mine were the Cowboys, when healthy, are a better team than the Eagles because they don't have a weakness that is as big as the Eagles' weakness.
And are you talking about the secondary?
Talking about their secondary, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean – first of all, this is like typical Jason Garrett era of, you have a horrible loss and the sky's falling. And then within the regular season, you play a big game, especially in a primetime slot, and you come out just firing. And it's been really impressive. The Cowboys are a lot healthier than the Eagles are tonight, and they're taking advantage of it. They shouldn't get penalized for that. But the way that they've made plays, first of all, the defense set the tone. Turnovers obviously played a huge part. And then I think the Cowboys have had a pretty varied and dynamic offensive approach. They've hit you a lot of different ways, and I think this has kind of put a lot of people at ease. So long as the Cowboys are able to close this out, kind of along the same rhythm which they've played the first three quarters.
We got Mark, Ty. I think I know who Ty is, and then Cedric back again. How we doing, guys? Thanks for joining us tonight, as we're going to kind of hopefully put this one to bed. There's a little carry to Zeke. Now, I'll be honest, me and Jared are both streaming, or I'm streaming and Jared's paused to catch up. So if I'm a touch behind, that's okay. We're still having fun. I've got 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Cowboys 27, Eagles 10. Jeff is backstage on the fan line. We're ready for him. So we can bring Jeff on anytime. Thanks to Cam, our producer, who's always awesome. We can bring Jeff on. Just want to remind you, it's brought to you by MyBookie.ag. You can use the promo code FanCred to double your deposit. There's Jeff. How you doing, Jeff? What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I wanted to ask you about Jordan Lewis.
Interesting. He's is obviously, we've seen him make a couple plays. I'm not one of those guys who just like automatically thinks he's better than Anthony Brown or Cheeto, but I do think he's playing better football than Cheeto is right now. I don't know if
I am one of those guys, Jeff. I do think he's better than Cheeto and Anthony Brown, for whatever it's worth.
Which a lot of people do.
I think Cheeto's thing is like he gets beat on routes where he's got absolute perfect coverage that I don't know how you could cover it any better, and the ball just gets dropped into a bucket. I mean, I don't personally as a fan have a problem with Cheeto. I just want to see Jordan on the field more because I feel like every time that guy's out there, that dude is making plays.
Absolutely. I think Cheeto's in his own head right now. And I also think Anthony Brown, Cheeto, and Jordan Lewis are all kind of cornerback 3 type guys, and I have 4 corners. I'm comfortable with any of those guys on the field. So I'm going to be playing a lot of nickels. Someone's going to have to sit. So, I just don't know if there's enough. Like when you watch Jordan Lewis play, Maher's on for a field goal from 29, and he made it. So 30-10 Cowboys. When you watch Jordan play, what the plays we see are the plays he makes. What we don't see is when a taller receiver is making a back shoulder catch on him, like happened that Jets game a couple times. Like no one was talking about that because he got that interception. Like I love Jordan Lewis. I think he's a very, very good cover guy. He can blitz. We saw that. And as Jared said, he makes things happen. Like I like him. I don't think Anthony Brown's some guy who's we can just should just let go. If you can bring Anthony Brown back for cheap, I think you should try to do it because I don't know though. I understand what everyone wants. We just haven't seen enough of Jordan. We have seen a lot of Cheeto.
I don't have a huge problem with Anthony Brown either. I just want to see Jordan Lewis on the field more. I mean, I don't know if maybe there could be like a rotation or something like that where, he's on the field. I mean, the dude just makes plays. And, to your point about the back shoulder fades though, I mean, really, that doesn't really matter whether you're going against somebody your size or somebody that's even bigger than you. Those are hard to defend anyway.
No, they absolutely are. I think I think Cheeto's fine and Cheeto will be here next year and all that stuff. I don't know what they're going to do with Byron. It becomes more of a long-term outlook. But I think they're going to draft another guy too. They will draft a corner, I would imagine,
Sure.
and they'll just add him to the mix. So it's an interesting topic, and I think if they're winning, they'll go into the bye week. It'll be interesting if Anthony Brown's healthy, if they're immediately back to Byron, Cheeto, and Anthony Brown. But I do think Anthony Brown is playing better than Cheeto. So I guess that's the way I look at it. The difference in those guys is obviously that Anthony Brown plays inside and Jordan plays inside. So
the bye week next week?
Got a bye week next week.
God.
And then we got the Giants. So huge game, and it's good to be up 30-10. Jeff, thanks for hanging out with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Evangelo says, Eagles bird pie in the oven. Time to serve it up. Jared, have you ever
– I don't know if that's a reference for something else, but if I'm answering that literally, then no, I do not think I've ever had bird pie. Now, if it's not literal, then maybe I have.
What's your favorite type of pie, Jared?
Oh, man. What if I told you I'm not really a pie guy?
What?
I like anything with whipped cream, so the type of pie I can put whipped cream on. I like Frito chili pie.
Okay, yeah, Frito pie is actually – that would crack my top 5 pie rankings.
Yeah, I can. Let's do that. What are your top 5 pies? Go.
Key lime pie, cherry pie, Frito pie, pecan pie. You know what's good? Basically chocolate pie with a lot of whipped cream on it.
Okay.
That's right.
You went with pecan, not pecan pie. That's an interesting choice.
I'm out on any type of pot pie.
Oh, you don't like pot pie?
And I'm out on shepherd's pie. I always thought that stuff was weird.
Yeah, I don't like shepherd's pie. I think my favorite type of pie is pizza pie.
Oh, pizza pie. 30-10. Maher made it inside the 40.
Hey, do you have any issue with that third down play call? I mean, they've been running really well with Zeke. You're up by 3 possessions. Don't want to suggest that could have been a dagger by any means to put it in the end zone, but I'm just curious your thoughts on that play call.
I think you're going to get the typical up by 2 scores or 3 scores, lackadaisical effort. I think that's kind of what we've seen in the second half.
Yeah.
Which is fine because, quite frankly, the Eagles haven't proven they can keep up. I understand. You lose 3 in a row, you criticize the team. I understand that, and don't think that I've been easy on the team, but I just don't think the defense is as bad as everyone was making them out to be. They're 9th in scoring defense. They were, I think, 8th in total yards defense. The problem was teams have showed that they could put together long drives on them. The Cowboys don't give up a ton of big plays, despite what just happened with Zach Ertz right there on the sideline.
Yeah,
which is a great catch. God, did he get 2 down? I don't think he did.
Let's see here. Looking at the replay. No, he didn't.
1 foot down.
Yeah, it looked like the hip hit the sideline.
Hip hit the sideline. Incomplete.
So what are we going to – okay, good. They're reviewing it. Hey, I can I ask you a quick question about something early in the game? DeMarcus Lawrence had a strip sack. Cowboys recovered. I think Antoine Woods fell on it, right? That big play early on that helped. It's one of those things where who knows how the drive plays out, but what we do know is that play was made. That play was a critical play. Earlier this week on your show, the Ben and Skin show, you, Ben, and Skin talked about DeMarcus Lawrence's performance this year, and you and I kind of side texted about it, always in favor of a good side text. And I kind of questioned the sentiment that you guys were sharing that DeMarcus Lawrence hasn't underperformed. And my stance is that DeMarcus Lawrence has underperformed. And I stand by that because I think that every elite pass rusher gets double teamed, and 2.5 sacks through 6 games is not what you need out of a guy you're paying that type of money. With that said, sacks are not the only measurement for a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence. And I think that right there, the pressure that he's been applying and that we've seen him apply here throughout tonight is probably an indication of what you were saying, that DeMarcus Lawrence has actually been great despite the sacks.
A sack tonight, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 hit, obviously the forced fumble that we were talking about. I mean, I think underperform is like based on standards, right? And the standard changes when a guy signs a contract, right? So I think it's more of like a semantics thing. Like, do I think he's been good? I do think DeMarcus Lawrence has been good. I mean, maybe not as good as he looked last year. I know for a fact that he's banged up quite a bit. So it's one of those things where I kind of look at it and I go, man, we're kind of early in the season. I think by the end of the season, DeMarcus Lawrence's sack numbers will be very similar to what they were last year. I think he'll be at 10 sacks. I think coming into this game, he had 4 fewer pressures than he did at this time last year. So I think part of it's he's drawn a lot more attention. It's very nice what Robert Quinn's done on the other side. That's really helped it be a consistent force. So I'm more worried about everything happening on the interior defensive line. Malik Collins has been good tonight. He has been a very inconsistent guy, and they're likely not going to sign him, and he'll go away. So I think it's a good thing you bring up there, though, because that was huge. DeMarcus Lawrence getting that sack early in the game.
Big play.
Real quick, Jared, I want to remind everyone the fan line is at the top right corner. So if you want to pop on with us, like Jeff did earlier, or if you're just now joining us and want to hang out with us on the fan line, just hit that on the top right corner. I want to remind you, brought to you by MyBookie.ag, Jared. And if you use the promo code FANCRED, they're going to double your deposit, Jared. So if maybe you wanted to get in on the money line, okay, you want to get in on the over-under as it's happening right now, use the promo code FANCRED. They'll double your deposit. Comment from Cedric. He said, a lot of runs on first down. The philosophy seems to remain unchanged. We've got an interception, and it is everyone's favorite member of the secondary, Xavier Woods.
My least favorite member.
See, people have been hard on him too, and I just don't know what people have expected.
Well, I think I'll tell you, people that have listened to our station, I think, have heard him placed on this very high pedestal. Chris Richard placed him on a very high pedestal. Will McClay placed him on a very high pedestal, and he's just been okay. And I think that expectations were unfairly placed on Xavier Woods to be a game-changing type player, and he has not been a game-changing type player. He has been an okay player who, if expectations were not set so high, I don't think would be looked at as negatively as he has been from other people.
Sure, yeah. 30-10 now. Cowboys get the ball. After the interception right there by Xavier Woods, the MyBookie.ag live line changed to Cowboys by 20.5. So if you think the Cowboys are about to go get more points right here, then you might want to go to MyBookie.ag, use the promo code FANCRED. They'll double your deposit. Maybe put some money down. See what happens. I mean, they're going to double your deposit either way. So, might as well use that promo code FANCRED and make it happen. That line's at 20.5 now, Jared. I guess another thing that we should talk about real quick. Oh no, I want to address the text from Cedric. A lot of runs on first down. The philosophy seems to remain unchanged. I think that's changed. I want to see the actual number when it's over, but it's not going to be as egregious as it was last week, where they ran the ball on first down 70% of the time and in the red zone 80% of the time. Like, I think they were running the ball on first down a lot in the second half because they were, winning by 2 scores. Last week you were trailing by 3 scores and you were running that on first down. That's a problem.
And you also had stretches where you were running the ball really effectively in tonight's game. I know it's not they're not going to be numbers that just jump out, a crazy way, but it did seem like in that stretch, I think it was the first quarter, early second quarter, they just basically let Zeke carry them all the way to the end zone on a drive. And so, I guess a little bit different circumstances. I mean, at the end of the day, you've put up 30 points, right? And you're always going to, you're going to nitpick, and I get that, but it definitely has looked like a much more varied offensive attack.
Okay, and this is where This is where it's very obvious. Like, I know there's a lot of people coming back and forth, and no one knows. Like, no one really knows besides the people in the building who's involved. But you cannot tell me that the offense from weeks 4, 5, and 6 was the same as the offense from weeks 1, 2, and 3. Tonight's offense looked way more like the weeks 1 through 3. And I'm not saying this because things are happening that are good. I'm not saying that because they're winning. I'm saying that because you saw the inclusion of Blake Jarwin. You saw the inclusion of Tony Pollard, and you saw creativity. You did not see creativity in that offense in weeks 4 through 6. Now, you can say that was skewed by the way the games went. In 2 of those games, you got down by a total of 52-6. So, like, I get it. Like, I understand what, but you can't tell me Garrett didn't have his hands on the offense a little bit weeks 4 through 6, and maybe he does here tonight. But
Nope.
It looked more like what I would call Kellen offense tonight. There's a little play action right there and a deep ball there, Garrett.
Yeah, that's taking a shot. I don't know that Tavon Austin's the guy you want to take a shot to in that situation, but that's the thing. So now you're going to have people that want the Cowboys to open it up. They want them to take shots downfield, and those same people are going to throw their hands up and say, "Well, what were they doing right there?" So, I mean, that's a nice play. That's something that our cornerbacks don't do a great job of, and that's high pointing the football, making a play on the football with good coverage. It's a nice play there by Jalen Mills, but curious what Dak saw when he made that throw, especially to a guy like Tavon.
He was feeling himself. It's the old heat check again. Mark said, I think the bye week couldn't come at a better time with Quinn and Van Der Esch going down. I agree, and this is Tyrod and Lyle need their ankles to get better. Cooper needs the week. Cobb, of course, at this point. All these guys could use it. It's not a bad time to have a bye week next week. It's never a bad time to get a bye week unless you have like the week 4 bye week. That's like the worst one you can get.
Yeah.
Sean Lee's looked good. Jake said, how's Lee looked in place of LVE? I think he's looked fine. I saw him make a couple plays. He's not going to be able to move as fast as Leighton, obviously, but, I think Leighton, we learned, still has a ways to go when it comes to anticipation, although Leighton looked pretty good tonight as well. Larry says, impressive game, but the boys have yet to beat a winning team, and the station will be flooded with contender talk for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to have a little bit of an objection there, Larry, and I understand where that's coming from. The thing that I would say is the Packer game was ugly, but it didn't have to be that ugly. You hurt yourself. Like, what long-term weakness do you see with this team? I can say 2 things. It's the coach's game management, okay, and it's the run defense pops up here and there. It's been fine tonight, for the most part. Who are the contenders in the NFC?
Okay.
I know, Jared, you got your power rankings.
Yeah, so to me, the Saints are the best team in the NFC. I know record-wise the 49ers are undefeated, but I still personally think, and this is where this is a total feel thing. Let's throw records. Let's even throw an early season head-to-head matchup out the door. I would take right now, if you put a neutral site, I would take the Minnesota Vikings over every NFC team other than the New Orleans Saints. And I know some people disagree. KT, you know this because we've done Star Chat for the last few years. For whatever reason, I've always liked Kirk Cousins, and it seems like they're clicking. They've got a very dynamic offense and a defense that didn't look that good today, but is a really good unit. I have the Vikings as number 2, and then my number 3 team in the NFC. I mean, some people are going to ask, well, how can you leave out the San Francisco 49ers? They're undefeated. That's fair. Other people will say that the Seahawks, though, there's just something that seems to be off with them. They'll end up making the playoffs, but to me, it goes 1, 2, Saints, Vikings, and then I think it's wide open. To me, the Saints are the best team, and then everyone else, it's kind of like you could kind of take your pick of 2 through 5, and I think you're going to get a lot of different variations.
That's why, and I said where I'm coming from with that whole thing was Larry's comment that the station will be flooded with contender talk, and I just don't think it's that like cut and dry. Like, I think if you make the playoffs, I think you're a contender. Like in football, I think for the most part, if you make the playoffs, especially the NFC, which is packed, making the playoffs in the AFC, maybe you're not a contender, as we've seen the last few years. Some of those really bad 6 seeds. But like in the NFC, which is loaded, I think you are a contender if you make the playoffs. And Cowboys are going to win this game. They're going to be first place in their division. I don't see how you wouldn't say that the Cowboys are a playoff team or had the caliber of being a playoff team, even after those 3 straight losses. I think you look at it and go, that could be a playoff team. We got a fumble on the snap.
Kerry Hyder.
Kerry Hyder, as the Cowboys get their turnover ratio up again. Another turnover for the Cowboys.
It seems like
4 turnovers, Jared.
I've seen Kerry Hyder's name a lot here tonight.
Well, he's played a lot because Tyrone Crawford's gone.
Yeah,
so he's going to have to.
It seems like he's kind of been involved in a lot of different things.
Cedric said, where is Zeke's burst or his explosive runs over? I thought Zeke's burst was there in the first half, personally. I honestly thought that narrative was a little overhyped. I mean, Zeke kind of looked like a guy who missed training camp, but I'm more worried about Zeke's vision than I am his burst or ability to make people miss.
Yeah. What about the lack of breaking tackles?
I've seen him break tackles tonight.
Right, but I think prior to tonight, that's a very fair concern because it hasn't happened.
Yeah. I don't think it's an issue, and I'm happy to be wrong on this because the way this league is proven is that, hey, year 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, guys start to lose it. I just don't think it's been that big of an issue. I just think it's been something that has just kind of popped up. And I mean, I know you can see it. You go off what your eyes see. I mean, I still see the same Zeke that's kind of – he's never been like Le'Veon Bell jump cut guy, you know?
I will say this. It does seem like tonight he is not getting contacted until deeper beyond the line of scrimmage than maybe any other game other than the Dolphins game so far this season.
I think he's top 5 in that stat, yards before contact. So, I still think Zeke is slippery. I don't think he's ever been that type of guy who's going to break your ankles a ton, that type of guy. But people are seeing it in the burst, it's fair. It's all a fair criticism. There's Dak going for the touchdown and he got it.
I love, they're the second time the Cowboys have had a play like that where Dak is rolling out in a short yardage red zone situation. The first was the touchdown to Blake Jarwin. I want to say 2 things because people are going to ask why this play was not utilized or play type was not utilized last week. I think it's very tough to utilize this type of a play when neither of your tackles are healthy and you're constantly getting your butt kicked in the pocket. And so I don't know how much of an option that was, but with a healthy edge protection, sometimes their offenses, they struggle in the red zone because they thrive on big plays. And so that extra boundary at the back of the end zone hurts them. And that can be an issue. I think the ability to get Dak on those option type plays where he can tuck it like he just did, or you got someone in the flat, you got a mid route, whether it's an out route from the tight end or a backside drag, whatever the case is. I think those types of plays make it really, really tough as long as they can seal on the line to stop Dak. And I think he's demonstrated a really strong decision-making in those plays. He makes it look really easy, but a lot of times when you got guys pursuing you, you've got to make a very quick decision. I think he does a really good job in those situations.
I fell for something, Jared. I let the Cowboys fans get to me. So last week when they got down to the Jets real bad, I had a tweet that said, save this team sucks for next week. And what I meant by it was go lose at home to the Eagles. That's what I meant. And then they suck. That's what I meant. People come at me. Monday, people are mad at me. Tuesday, people are mad at me. Wednesday, people are kind of starting to get ready for the Eagles. It kind of, Wednesday, no one's got a lot of hot takes on Wednesday. Thursday, I go ahead and I said, you know what? These guys are right. Eagles win 27-24. And then everyone starts giving me hell. Cowboys fans, what are you doing? You don't think we're going to beat the Eagles? And I'm like, 3 days ago, you guys were up my ass about this game. So what I'm saying to you guys now is this team doesn't suck. And it's easy for me to say that when they're winning 37-10. But again, I'm going back to getting down 31-3 to the Packers, getting down 21-3 to the Jets, turning the ball over 2 times in New Orleans. Those are not things that have always happened. We're some turnover-prone team. The things that have always happened is they haven't got turnovers. They've Garrett's messed up clock management. Those are the long-term issues. The short-term issues, there was just a string of bad games, man. So I just don't think it was as bad as everyone tried to make it. I still think this is a really good team. I still totally believe in that quarterback. Man, do you think they got questions about the quarterback in Philadelphia right now, Jared?
Much. Hey, who would you and you know, this is one of those questions that can be asked every single week for the next 5 years, and it's going to change. But if you had to take a guy, Dak or Carson Wentz, right now for the next 5 years, who do you take?
Dak.
Do you? And
I've always been that way.
Yeah, no, and I have. Well, I have as well. I'd say that for me, I'd say since mid last year, once we saw Dak actually throw to some weapons, I'm not going to say that I would take Dak 2 years ago during what was a really rough year, but I agree. And I think that the leadership side of it, which you can't quantify, is a big part of that. And there are a lot of stories out there that kind of suggest the exact opposite with Carson. But there's something that just, we analyze Dak every single week. We see, when he doesn't have a perfect throw, everyone's up in arms. But, man, Carson Wentz has made some really odd throws tonight.
Eagles schedule: Buffalo, Chicago, New England, Seattle, Miami, the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys, the Giants. 4 of those last 5 games look like cupcakes, but they got some tough ones ahead of them to have 4 losses. If you look at New England, Buffalo can beat them. Chicago can beat anybody. This is going to be tough for the Eagles to crawl out of this, but they're still very much in it. Still very much in it. This was a type of game where the Eagles won it, you could be buried because of how hard the schedule is coming up, and they could actually afford to lose it because how easy their schedule has been. A message here in the chat box from JK, and he's addressing you, Jared. He says, Jared Sandler, what are your thoughts on the remaining schedule and the likelihood of the Cowboys clinching a playoff spot?
I think they make the playoffs. Obviously, I think if they don't, we're going to look back at the first part of the season and say they should have banked more wins, maybe one more win when they had the chance. Obviously, the Jets game's the one that people are going to look at. I'll tell you, a few weeks ago, I thought that Giants game was a little bit tougher, but Giants look to be a little bit off. Now, 2 weeks from now, they should have a healthy Sterling Shepard to add to Golden Tate. I mean, it's a good offensive mix. Saquon's back, and you've got Evan Engram and whatnot. But after that, Vikings, Lions, Patriots, Bills, Bears, Rams, Eagles. I mean, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 game stretch where, gosh, how many of those games are you going to be favored in? At the Bears, gosh, probably not. Certainly not at the Patriots. Lions might be, depending on how the Lions evolve, because they didn't look that great today. At least, at the beginning part of that game, or the middle part, once the Vikings took control. That's a really tough stretch. I do still think the Cowboys make the playoffs, but if you told me over that 7 game stretch they went 5-2 or 2-5, I don't know that I'd be shocked either way.
Keep that schedule up. I want to go through a couple of things here in a minute, but first we get Julian on the fan line. Big fan of Julian. Julian's joined us before the fan line. If you want a fan line on the top right corner, you can join us. This is Cowboys Fourth Quarter Live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. The promo code is FanCred, where they'll double your deposit at MyBookie.ag. It's 37-10 Cowboys, 7:30 left in the fourth, and Julian's in the house. What's up, man?
What's up with it, y'all? Y'all doing all right?
Doing great. How are you? How you feeling tonight?
I'm all right. It's all right, gang. Calling to give you a quick hot take, quick question. I'm gonna leave y'all and then just sit back and listen. So with last week's loss, we kind of saw that Jason Garrett, barring a complete, eruption, Jason Garrett's job is safe until the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, what would we have to do even in the playoffs for him to lose his job? Are we talking about divisional round and he still gets fired, or is it Super Bowl and bust? I'm gonna leave y'all with that, and y'all have a good one, man.
That's a great question. Thanks, Julian. Great to see you, man. I love Julian. Really nice guy. And I'm going to say they have to get to the championship game. So the Final Four. And this is the issue, right? Like, there's a segment of people who wanted the Cowboys just to get murdered tonight. so Garrett would lose his job. And I legitimately think that would have happened. Like, I think if the Cowboys were losing 37-10 right now, that tomorrow Garrett gets
Oh, Conley!
I think you're ahead of me 37-10. Oh, it hit him in the hands. It hit Sean Lee in the hands. They're never going to get turnovers. They got 4 tonight. This is where I think the issue is a bigger thing. Because if you go to the playoffs, what is there's never like an expectation that you're going to go run the table, okay? But I have very little confidence that the Cowboys will go out game plan the other teams and win 3 games in a row. I have very little faith that they will go out game plan 3 playoff teams in a row. Now they got to do it. We got Jeff Heath down on the field too, I believe. And he rolled his knee up. Ooh, that could be bad, dude. Oh gosh, what a weird collision. Maybe it's just a knee-to-knee thing and just like a contusion, but it looked kind of bad. So that's how I feel, Jared. I have no faith in them to go in the playoff situation, out game plan contenders 3 times in a row. I can do it once. You know, we saw it last year. They go beat Seattle. Go beat the Rams. You're gonna go out game plan the Rams. They didn't. They didn't do it. So that's the biggest issue with me and the Garrett thing right now.
Hey, so I didn't want the Cowboys to lose tonight's game, but what if the score was reversed? What if it was 37-10 Philadelphia? You think Jason Garrett coach? I mean, it's the bye week. This is the perfect time to make a coaching change.
Nah, he's gone.
If the score was reversed, would Jason Garrett be the Cowboys coach on Tuesday?
No, he'd be gone.
Okay, I agree.
They were going to do it. They were going to do it, and you know what? There's Zeke breaking loose. Zeke for about 20 right there. I think they were set to do it, and I don't think it's like one of those things like because it shouldn't be that way, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, well, one game said we need to get emotional and change it. It should be I either believe in the guy or I don't. I just think it's different because they don't want to fire him until they.
Well, because Jerry likes to have a measure of control, and Jason will not fight him on that. And there's nothing. To some degree, there's nothing wrong with that. To another degree, there is. But to some degree, you know, to have that cohesion, I mean, you see it in sports when the owner and the head coach and the GM cannot get on the same page, there are issues. And I don't know that there is a ton of – it's never going to be perfect, but I do think that trio, Jerry, Steven, and Jason, are probably more on the same page than 2/3 of other NFL trios. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's
got a good shot of Brill, though. At least we got a good shot of Brill on TV. She's the one calling the shots.
Love Brill. Is Brill sitting next to Gina Davis up there?
Ooh, great catcher. Great catcher.
LJ says, I see offensive inconsistency, whether it be play calling or starting slow, and the run defense being the biggest problems. The other contenders, Vikings, Hawks, 49ers, have great running games, and slow starts against Breeze or Rodgers will be tough to overcome. And I think that's the greatest overarching point here is in the NFC, if you do happen to make it to the playoffs, you have Breeze and Rodgers, and I'll put Russell Wilson in that category of guys who can go beat you, and that's not mentioning the Rams if they find a way to get in. You got guys who can beat you. And then you do have these other kind of ball control type teams, and Seattle will try to play that way. The Vikings will definitely try to play that way. The 49ers have to play that way. Like, it's just going to be tough to do it in the NFC. But in the end, there's 3rd and 5 right here. We got Tony Pollard action. I love seeing Tony Pollard get in there. In the end, I can't say that, like, a coaching change is going to fix things. It could be what's going on with the offense, as LJ says, offensive inconsistency. It could be what's going on with the offense is that it's Kellen Moore being a first-time play caller. I personally think it's Jason putting himself into the mix because Jason is wired a certain way. And the way he is wired is that when I start losing control of things a little bit, I revert to my ways because I firmly have core value and believe in these things. And I think that's bad. I think you can have core values, but I think you should also be willing to adjust. Andy Reid adjusts on a day-to-day basis. These guys, there's a lot of coaches out there who give their team an advantage, and I'm not sure that Jason does that on a week-to-week basis, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know that he does. Now, how much of a disadvantage are they at? Obviously, I think that can be debated. Cedric brings up Lincoln Riley. I know that the NFL is a higher level than college football, but I wonder if Lincoln Riley would want to come here. Lincoln Riley has total control of what he does in that program, and that just wouldn't be the case here. I'm sure it's really tough to pass up going to the NFL, specifically the Cowboys, and there's no salary cap on coaching, so who knows what they would be willing to offer if it got to that point. But I don't know. I would just be curious if that would be a situation he'd want to leave. Maybe it would, but I don't know that it's a definite that he'd want to leave a situation where he has total control. Now, quality of life for an NFL head coach seems to be a little bit better than a college head coach, but I don't know.
That's a personality thing. That's just going to come down to what he wants as a person. Like, that's hard to know. Like, I forgot who told me this, and I'm sure they might have told you because you know the person. You know the person. I just don't want to say her name. But basically said that basically Cliff didn't really have a lot of – what's that, Jared? Nice socks, man.
Julian wants to see I got my Mavs socks on, old school Mavs socks. There you go.
Wednesday night, you get some Mavs predictions? You think they make the playoffs?
Don't think they make the playoffs. Think they're about a 42-win team, and that's okay. They'll be a fun 42-win team. They just won't make the playoffs.
What a hater. Hater. You drinking that haterade over there, man.
Yeah. Or the realistic aid.
Let it be an 8 seed. The Cowboys training staff with Britt Brown and those guys, to get Lyle and Tyron and Cooper, and Cobb made some plays, and Byron, to get all those dudes ready to play is pretty awesome because the Eagles had about 5 guys who were hurt, and those guys weren't able to get ready to go. And I think the Cowboys pulled off a miracle by getting these guys ready to play.
Yeah, and Amari.
Because if you asked me if these guys were playing, I would have said they're not playing. And then we lose.
And there's one thing too, like guys play versus guys play effectively. I don't know how good of a game this was for Tyron. I don't know how well he's going to grade out, but for Amari, for instance, for someone who's dealing with a lower half injury, his route running ability was really, really strong.
Well, the question is Tyron better than Cam Fleming? Whatever Tyron was at tonight, is that better than Cam Fleming? It absolutely is.
Yeah, that's. I will say though, you're right. It is. There's no doubt about it. Cam Fleming is not some random dude off the street, though. This is a guy that was a tackle on a Super Bowl winning team last year, and I think that the excuses from last week are more a reflection on the coach's inability to make adjustments based on their personnel. Like you were talking about, you got to be able to adjust. But there's no doubt that Tyron is better than Cam Fleming, and even at his condition tonight, he's more impactful than Cam Fleming.
They fall into the trap of one play at a time. We focus on us. We do what we do, and we're going to go execute. And sometimes you have to do more than that. A couple things here. Mark, I want to see Dak get a 3-year fully guaranteed contract at $95 million price tag. Dak's team would say no to that.
Yeah, the 3 years, right? I mean, that's
because now the Cowboys can just franchise him, and he can play for 1 year at $30 million and get it all fully guaranteed. And then he can do it again. So I don't know if he would sign that deal because honestly, that's at 32 too. Like that's less than Goff and Wentz. Dak's numbers are better than Goff and Wentz. There's no arguing that anymore. Like you can argue who's better. Dak has got better numbers than all of those guys now. Like it's no longer even a thing of like, I know people go, it's the eyeball test or whatever. It is the eyeball test, and the eyeball test would show that he's been better than them this year. So, and I think Wentz is good. I really do. The thing that scares me most about Wentz is the injury thing. I think he's good, though.
Yeah.
I I still like Goff. I still think Goff is fine. I think the Rams are just going through a little funk, and they'll get out of it and be fine. But like that's the team everyone's forgetting about in the NFC. I think is the Rams. Everything okay?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting updates. We hope everyone is doing okay in the area with the tornado. Just getting updates from my wife on some stuff. So I accidentally clicked play on.
Everything okay?
All right, everything's all right.
Is Cedric says is Tyron Dunn being an elite left tackle with mileage? Is he just a guy? I think he's still a very, very, very good left tackle. Is he the best left tackle in football anymore? Probably not.
Probably not a top 5, but I would say a top 10.
Is he a shoe-in Hall of Famer? He's probably, yeah.
Liam McHugh going to wrap up the night perfectly on the Volkswagen postgame report, you think?
I'll be listening to the 105.3 The Fan postgame show personally, so I won't know.
With R.A. Temkin and Jeff Kavanaugh.
Jeff Kavanaugh, yeah.
And contributions from several.
I want to remind everyone, this is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. The promo code is FanCred. Go ahead, Jared.
I was going to say, I before this game ends, I want to bring up, the Cowboys have had a tough time with tall receivers, guys who will go up and get balls on you. How about this? Alshon Jeffrey, 2 catches, 38 yards, and they were both when the game was out of hand. I credit the Cowboys for that because they have had trouble with those types of guys.
I think that all the talk of the world's falling down about the defense was just another thing that had to do with panic. I truly believe that, man, because again, they're top 10 in yards and points. Like we were all okay with them being a top 10 defense, right?
Yeah, I have let
I'm not issues.
I'm
not ignoring the issues.
Defense, the personnel, more concerned last game with the game plan. Inviting the Jets to beat them in the air just seems absolutely moronic. That to me was the bigger concern, more than a long-term, these guys aren't good enough to cut it type of concern.
I've got Dak at 21 of 27, 240 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Wentz, 16 of 26, 191, a touchdown and a pick. Zeke, 22 for 111. I've got Cooper, 5 for 106. Gallup with 3, Cobb with 2, Witten had 4. Let's see. We had a sack from Tank, a sack from Jordan Lewis, a sack from Robert Quinn. And, of course, we got the pick from interceptions. Obviously, the Cowboys won the turnover battle tonight, 4-0. 4-1, actually. So that's pretty good. So they're +3 in turnovers. Time of possession, they had that one 32-28. Just all around full dominance. Again, the Cowboys were very good on third down again, too, Jared. They were 8 of 14. 57% on third down. The Eagles were 3 of 9 at 33%. It's just a strong victory, full-on dominance.
Hey, it reversed from the Cowboys or the Packers game when the Cowboys were driving and then a turnover in the opening drive maybe changed the course of things. Turnover in the opening drive for the Eagles as they were moving the ball down the field really gave the Cowboys an edge, and then that second turnover put them in the driver's seat and they didn't look back.
Absolutely. Cedric says, guys, really appreciate it. Love the environment y'all have built here. Have a great night. Thanks for jamming with us, Cedric. And also, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Cowboys will play the Giants. They are 4-3. They will get a bye week. They will get a chance to rest up and all that good stuff. So hopefully be 100% across the board. We'll see how the Van Der Esch and Robert Quinn injuries are. I think those are the kind of the overarching concerns from this game. Got a good chance to get up to 5-3 before your schedule takes a turn. And I can't say I know what the Lions are. I think the Vikings are really good with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think going to play the Bears in December is tough. We know the Patriots are going to be tough, but 4-3, you had to have it tonight. And to get it in that fashion, so impressive. So I'm just I couldn't be more thrilled for them. 4-3, headed to the bye week. Jared, do you have any closing remarks?
No, sir. This is typical Cowboys. This, you go 1 week, it's the end of the world, and now the next week, Super Bowl, here we come. But this is, is this not following the typical Cowboys playbook?
Feels like a divisional round playoff loss team to me.
Hey, it very well could be. But
being honest.
No, you're right. Last week, though, it didn't we're not sure if it was a playoff team even, but I think they'll get there. The second half of the season, the post-bye portion of the season is going to be really interesting. They got to get that game against the Giants because they don't have a lot of easy type, an easy feel type games the rest of the way.
I know we're about to leave, but I want to give you this quick remark and let every fan think about this. Brad Sham, the voice of the Cowboys, Hall of Famer, he's the best. And Brad had this thing that I heard him say today. He said, I always thought of football seasons as a lifespan. And he goes, here we are entering week 7, and people are ready to give up on the team after 6 games. He goes, in real life, would you give up on a 43-year-old, or would that 43-year-old still have something to prove? And that's where I kind of think that's kind of incredible to think about it that way. So here we are through 7 games. We're 43% of the way through the season. I'm not giving up on this 43-year-old. I think they've got a chance to do things before they go to the nursing home and have to have their diapers changed.
They're still assuming a 100-year life. I mean, if it's just an 80-year life, then they're even younger than 43.
Yeah. Actually, he said it was 90 when he brought that up. But I'll say 100 because I believe in modern medicine.
Yeah.
All right. For Jared Sandler, at Jared Sandler on everything. I am at KT Fun Tweets. Kevin Turner will be live on the Fan all week, 10 to 2 on the Ben and Skin Show. And yeah, go to KT Fun Tweets. Download the FanCred app if you have it. It's free. And thank you to MyBookie.ag, where you can double your deposit with the promo code FanCred. Maybe you get some action on that Monday night game tomorrow night, Jets and Patriots. You saw the Jets last week. Maybe you want to get in on that. Go to MyBookie.ag. All right, for Jared, I'm KT. See you in 2 weeks where the Cowboys beat the Giants to move to 5-3. Peace out.